In 1982, a Dr. Daniel Kramer, a professor of obstetrics, gynecology, and reproductive biology at one of the leading medical schools in the United States, Harvard Medical School, who was also a director of OBGYN and epidemiology at Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston, conducted one of the earliest studies to suggest a link between genital talc use in women and cancer of the ovaries. That study was published in 1982. His study found a significant association between genital talc use and ovarian cancer. Since that time, there's been more than 30 studies published associating the use of talc and ovarian cancer. And by the way, when Dr. Kramer published his study, Johnson & Johnson apparently was very concerned because Dr. Semple from Johnson & Johnson went to see Dr. Kramer to talk to him about the study. Now, Dr. Kramer's study found that there was a 92% increase in ovarian cancer with women who reported genital talc use. And that was very concerning, obviously, to Johnson & Johnson, as it should be. And Dr. Semple went to visit Dr. Kramer to discuss the study, at which time Dr. Kramer advised that Johnson & Johnson should place a warning on its talcum powder products about ovarian cancer risks so that women could make an informed decision about their health. And that was in 1982-83 when that visit happened. And Johnson & Johnson did not put such a warning on their product. And since then, like I said, there's been more than 30 other studies talking about the association of ovarian cancer and the use of Johnson & Johnson's talc products in and about the genital area. In 1983, there was another study that found a 150% increase in ovarian cancer. In 1988, there was another study that found a 40% increase in ovarian cancer if you use the talc between 1 and 9 years. Yeah, how about if you use talc more than 9 years? The study had a cutoff of 9 years. In 1989, there was another study that found a 29% increase in ovarian cancer if you use talcum powder in the genital area more than once a week. Now, what happens if you use it 7 days a week? What happens if you use it 2 times a day, 3 times a day? The study didn't go into that, but it makes sense that you're exposing yourself to more risk, in my opinion. In 1992, there was another study that found an 80% increase in risk of ovarian cancer with more than 10,000 lifetime perennial applications of talc, demonstrating that there's a positive dose-response relationship. So, like I mentioned a minute ago, what happens if you use it twice a day, 3 times a day? Many women do that. Many women use it after each shower. Some women take more than 1 shower a day. There's another study in 1992, that reported a 70% increase from genital talc use and a 379% increased risk in women who use talc on sanitary napkins in their genital area. There was an additional study in that same year, 1992, that found an elevated risk for ovarian cancer in women who applied talc-containing PAP to the lower abdomen and perineum for longer than 3 months. And the studies continue in 95. They found a 27% increase, 96 a 97% increase, and it just keeps on going on, literally to this day. And there's been several recent studies in the past few years that again continue to confirm the association between Johnson & Johnson's talc-based powder products and ovarian cancer. More recently, there's been an association found between Johnson & Johnson's talc products and mesothelioma. which is generally it's a lung cancer. And the basis of that finding is that there's been finding of asbestos in some of the talc products from Johnson & Johnson, which we'll go into a little bit later. Now, the injury that the studies are showing that is associated with Johnson & Johnson's talc-based powders is, just generally speaking, it's ovarian cancer, of which there's several different types, and again, mesothelioma. Numerous scientific research studies, some of which we've already discussed, have clearly found that women who frequently use talcum powder products for feminine hygiene purposes, and specifically Johnson & Johnson talc-based powder products, are at an increased risk of developing ovarian cancer. These studies show that women using talc products have a higher rate of developing ovarian cancer than a person who does not use talc products. I believe I've read somewhere that it is believed that 10% of all ovarian cancer is talc related. There are studies that have shown a link between talcum powder and mesothelioma as a result of asbestos being found in some talcum powders. There is also additional research going on right now that is looking into if there's any links between talcum powder and cancer of the stomach lining, the larynx, and the uterus. You would want to file a talcum powder lawsuit if you used the Johnson & Johnson talc-based powder and you were diagnosed with ovarian cancer or mesothelioma. The answer why you would want to do that is very simple. It's very likely that their product caused you to have these terrible diseases, ovarian cancer and mesothelioma. It's going to alter your way of life. It's going to affect your family and people who rely on you. And you are entitled to receive compensation for your medical expenses associated with the illness. Also, if you were working, it's likely you're going to be missing a lot of work. The lawsuit will seek compensation to recover all of your lost wages. The lawsuit will also seek to receive compensation for the pain, suffering, and emotional distress that you are going through as a result of coming down with either ovarian cancer or mesothelioma. In some states, the law even allows your family members certain rights of recovery because of your illness, because that you came down with ovarian cancer or diagnosed with mesothelioma. We have to analyze the damages allowed by your state, come up with the total damages that could be claimed in your individual lawsuit. This is not a class action. In the United States, there's no class actions for personal injury. Each personal injury lawsuit is your own lawsuit. It's an individual lawsuit. At times, it could be centralized with other similar lawsuits, but your lawsuit stands alone, and your case will be tried alone. Sometimes the court orders a group of cases to be tried together, but it's still, the jury knows about your lawsuit and about your caption with your name against Johnson & Johnson.